Well, it's still one of the truest villages left in England, I think.
And yes, I totally agree. Egerton is on the road to nowhere. Nobody knows where Egerton is.
Well, Egerton and Egerton Forster lie on the ridge, the Blackley Ridge as it's called, and it's between Maidstone and Ashford.
It's the best place I've ever lived.
I was born in this house. I've lived in the village for 49 years. I always say to people that I'm not part of the village is part of me.
There's such a lot going on. Nobody needs to be sat at home as a recluse. There's so many different things you can belong to. I belong to as much as I can.
I tell people, you could be out every night. And my daughter says, what do you mean could be? You are.
Yeah, there's loads of events happening in the village, loads of special things. Every week or so, something exciting happens.
We have some swings and a slide, and we didn't need to buy them because they were left there by the other children.
It's probably the centre of the village. I'd like to think it would be the church, but in realistic terms it is the centre of the village. It's where we all giggle, laugh, dance, do silly things, act on the stage, and it just is a very happy place to be.
Well, the coffee morning is an excuse for a whole lot of people to get together. During the summer it takes place in people's gardens, a different garden each week. There's a raffle. People pay for their coffee and a bit extra.
As soon as I got here, I realised what a lucky move it was for us, because everybody here, no matter who they are or what they are, how wealthy they are or how poor they are, all on the same standing, and they're all very friendly, and I think we have a wonderful community. Oh, it's so varied. I mean, if you wanted to, you could be out every night of the week. There's everything from obviously the football club, cricket, WI, the music society, the dramatic society. There's a wonderful tele-cottage at the village hall so that everybody, young and old, can go along and learn how to use their computers.
It's been a wonderful thing for the village. So many people my age trying to learn about computers and things.
I think it's small enough that everybody knows everybody else, and they all pull together, and there's no sort of distinction between, well, we haven't got a lord of the manor, but we've got some pretty wealthy people in the village, but they all muck in with the common plebs, and it is a very happy village, and everybody gets on well together.
Well, like John, I've lived here virtually all my life. Moved here from London when I was 6, so I feel that I've been in the village a long time and I love it. I love the social side. It's one big family, really. I think somebody said earlier that it's, you tend to think when you live in a village, everybody knows everybody's business. But it's not like that. It's caring. When there's a problem, lots of neighbours come round and help out, and likewise we do the same. If there's any problem, we're there to help if we can.
It serves the purpose that she needs it for, and it's just a normal little buggy really, and it's very useful, and I can see her using it a lot. It seems like a very useful gadget to go around if you're not allowed to use the car anymore, because she had a cataract in one eye and she went blind in it, unfortunately, and she wasn't allowed to drive her car, so she had to buy a buggy.
I can only think that it must be the people in it. I can only think that it is that, because you can always find somebody to talk to, and if you're not well, you have so many people asking after you and coming to see you and sending you cards, and it's just always been the same. Everybody's so friendly and caring, and yeah, wonderful place, I think. Lived here for 50 years, so can't find much wrong with it anyway.
People get involved and everybody knows everybody really, and everybody's interested in what everybody else is doing. That's not really being nosy, that's just sort of thinking if somebody's ill, who's ill, and we'll send a card. The community is not very well, so everybody, if they're involved with your organisation, they'll send a card to cheer them up when they're in hospital. there's sort of lots of things going on for the young and the old.
Well, we seem to be looked after from the cradle to the grave, don't we? We've got the mother and toddler group, and we go right up through our very good school. There are umpteen clubs and that you can join all through your life, and just when you think you need a rest, you go to the over 60s and start it all again. So there's nothing that you can't do in this village if you've a mind to.
And we're very fortunate in that we've got Pam Pack, who lives very near to us. She's a widow, and she comes along for a couple of hours in the morning and just helps my mother, does a little housework for her, checks that she's all right, puts her knitting straight when she's gone wrong and helps her with a crossword, and even plants a couple of plants or something like that if she wants it.
I genuinely feel we care about one another, even though we probably just say, it's nosy, but we generally look out for one another, especially here. I mean, only in my little patch, say, you just notice things. I'd notice if my next door neighbour's curtains were not right, or you just notice things. And we take care of one another, which we do. I really believe that.
I started off just going to the chapel down the road, and often thought I could never work with teenagers, etc. But just shows you how God has a sense of humour in that I ended up as the leader of the youth work in the church. So, as I say, if people do a little bit themselves, then it does make a large difference to the overall tenure of the village.
Well, it's really a question of keeping village traditions going. So we're just doing our little bit on our little garage to keep that going. But we're very well looked after in local needs housing. We're very fortunate in that respect to have 6 little cottages down to Good Intent and only 11. Well, it's enabled local people, local young people to stay in the village who would not otherwise have been able to because of the cost of the housing in the village. Well, I always say with Egerton that it's a very fortunate combination of the traditional and the new, in the sense that the old established families, Hopkins, the Hopes, the Harpers, the Olivers, the Missings, people like that, keep the traditions going, and new people have come into the village, injected new energies and new initiatives in, and it all seems to work very well, so it's a good combination.
But there are a number of people sort of self-employed who have got little industries going. It's important that they're able to continue as far as they can.
The coppicing of chestnut is still going on, and with the extension of new uses, coal burning of course has come back. Up the village of course there's been quite a lot of planting of trees in the last 10-15 years, and a lot of those which you don't notice are now becoming mature, and therefore they look a lot better and much more dignified.
There was no way I would desire to go back to live in a town, because I came from a town. I was born on the Isle of Sheppey, and when I go to visit there now, there's no way I could go back there to live.
The majority of people in this village communicate with their neighbour. You can be lonely, you can walk out of your house, you can walk up the hill, and you can speak to somebody. And the other thing about this village I notice is that all the young people are very polite, they always say good morning, and they're very helpful.
My grandma comes down to see me every week. She likes the countryside better than town because she lives in the city, and so she gets a bit bored there because she doesn't have a very big garden.
As you get older you like to watch the children, and we sit and watch them on the swings and things, and they have a wonderful time down there. They seem to make more use of that play area now than our children did when they were younger. They had the little one on the side there, but they never wanted to go down there. But the children of the village today seem to have more use down there, or make more use of it now, I think.
I'm so proud of Egerton because the community, as you say, is fantastic. Everybody joins in, everybody helps each other, and every society, whatever we're doing, helps. It's absolutely amazing. I always say I'm very proud of Egerton.
Because I don't actually live in Egerton, but I feel more part of Egerton than I do of the village where I live, so it is where everybody just pulls together.
Well, we took over the village store 4 months ago, back in June. We've never actually done anything like this before, and we were a bit apprehensive. We came to a village that we didn't know very well, but in the 4 months that we've been here, it feels like we've been here 4 years. Everybody's so friendly. It's incredible that people have treated us like we've been here for years.
Yeah, the shop is one of the centres of the community. Not only a place where people can get their provisions, post their letters, draw their pension, also a place where the community can swap stories and talk to one another.
I think WI women are traditionally doers. If you're going to belong to the WI, you've got to be, well, you don't belong unless you're a joiner and you're prepared to muck in and do things. I mean, we did a cookery book last year, which, and the money from that was split 3 ways. Demelza House, the hospice, the Ashford Hospice, and the polio hostel.
But I think if people are prepared to do a little, it makes all the difference. Rather than leaving things to a few people, if a larger group of the community can do a little each, it does make a difference.
We've just had a very good Ofsted, so that's given everybody a lift, all the staff and everybody who comes in to help. It's a very happy, comfortable place to work. I've been very happy here, which is why I've stayed so long.
I live in Ashton on a farm, and I have some cows and sheep, and I have to feed them in the morning before I go to school.
But around here there's loads of fields and trees, and you see loads of birds, and often foxes go through my garden.
We go and look at like all these like nests and stuff, and we go into fields and orchards, and we look at all like spider webs.
By going out and really looking, that's partly just that we might find something interesting on the way, or we know that there is a tree full of conkers. It's actually making them stop, take stock of what's there, and the best way to do that is by getting them to draw what they see. I think it's a process of opening up a sense of wonder, which I hope will then translate into all other areas of life, so that whatever they're doing, they can look up, and if they're working in the city, they can notice the moon rise.
And I always think flowers help you to concentrate on something. If you're, if you've got a bad day and you're in church, you look at the flowers, then to me that is a great peacefulness, and I can forget all my problems, just look at the wonderful flowers and how someone's arranged them.
We are so lucky. I mean, we go on holiday, but I come home and I just think, why should I? Well, I don't have to visit anywhere in the world because I already feel I live in paradise. I really do. And hopefully I sort of try and make these children see what we've got and how lucky we are.